Welcome to part 10 of installing a Linux system, part of the Programming for the Web series. Part 10 is about the Linux system settings, similar to Control Panel, probably on Windows. Okay, there's a number of ways you can get the settings, but the easiest way is to click on Menu and then to click on the Settings icon. There are quite a lot of settings to choose from. Some you'll need, some you probably never need. If you're working on a virtual machine, I would recommend not making a lot of changes, or not making changes that will use up memory or video memory or CPU cycles. So bear that in mind when you actually want to make some changes. Okay, backgrounds, you can choose a different background. I rather like this one, so that's the one I'm going to have now. There are settings, as you can have it as a slideshow or whatever. Some of them work as a slideshow, some don't. Okay, effects. Now, these are the effects for how the windows are displayed and that type of thing. You can customize the settings as well if you wish. Okay. Fonts, we're going to come to that a bit later on, so I'll do that a bit later. Themes. Okay. This is one of the things I do change. I actually change the window border to the aging gorilla, which makes it look a bit more like Windows. I've done this on my laptop, which I take around to customers, so it sort of looks a bit more like Windows, and it doesn't frighten them too much, thinking, oh no, it's a Linux machine. Okay, you can have different themes and this type of thing if you wish, but these will use up system resources, system memory, so you might not want to actually put that on. You can show icons on buttons and that type of thing if you wish, all your choice on there. If you have accessibility, you can actually change the settings in here. Account details are basically about you. You can put in a picture if you wish. Okay. Applets, this is for on the system tray. Again, I would be careful about, because they all use memory and that type of thing, so I'd be a bit careful on that. You can download new applets if you wish. I actually run a CPU temperature indicator on the laptop, but that's about all. Okay, date and time, which is, as it says, the date and time setting. Desklets, these are sort of little programs, a bit like, well, what were they called on Windows 7? The gadgets, that's it, the gadgets on Windows 7. So these are a bit like the gadgets. If you wish, you can add some new ones. I haven't, but if I did, I'd press yes. No. And you have various decorations as well that you can have on those. The desktop itself, okay. What to show on the desktop and what not to show. So if you want the rubbish bin on or the network or whatever, you can do that. Computer, home. I'm actually going to switch the computer off as I don't need it. Okay. Extensions. As you can see, I have none, and you can download various extensions, and again, they all use up resources, so if you're on a virtual machine, it probably isn't a good idea. General. Okay. Never really changed any of that. I just use it as is, remained on the defaults. Okay, hot corners, if you want something to happen when the mouse goes into the corner windows. If you're using Ubuntu by itself and not Mint, be a bit careful with this on a virtual machine because it can disappear sometimes. Input method. This is which language you want. I actually want a different language, so I'm going to put in another language because I do actually use not just English but another language. Why have we gone to sleep? Thank you. Okay, so as you can see, there's all different types of English, but I want to add another language, so I'll click on Add. Some language packs are missing for the UK. Oh, we'll have to have a look at that one. And I actually want French France. So I want the UTF-8 version. So I'll just click on Install. It'll go away, get it, and install it. Okay, for some reason we seem to have a lot of language settings. So let's have a look. The English UK, some language packs are missing, so I shall install the language packs for that. And again, they'll download that, and it'll take a couple of seconds to install it, and hopefully I'll have all the UK UTF-8. Obviously not, but not to worry. For some reason I seem to have rather a large number of language packs, but never mind. Don't know why. Okay. Right. There's obviously a problem somewhere. It's trying to install it. So okay, that's installed. Right, seem to have had rather a large number of those. Input method, I mean, if you have a different keyboard, you can use a different type of keyboard on that. Okay, so languages we've just done. Notifications. Okay, enable notifications, yes, that type of thing. So we did the languages, so that's okay. Running very slowly today for some reason. Hello. Thank you. Okay, online accounts. This is for example, if you want to have your Google Docs account show up in the file manager, you can do that. Panel. Okay, this is the panel at the bottom, whether or not you want to see it or hide it or whatever. Preferred applications. We're going to come to this a bit later on because there are one or two I want to change on that, so I'll do that later. Privacy, I recommend you leave that as is. If you're not too worried about privacy, you can ask it to remember recently accessed files. Screensaver, again, that's something you can choose. You can change the delay and that type of thing. You can customize when it shows, what it shows, and so on. Here I'm going to just change it to 30 seconds, so it reminds me to do some work instead of read something. Startup applications, we're going to come to this a bit later on, so I shall do that later. Windows, this is where your windows are. Here I'm going to put a little menu up at the top, and that's all I'm going to do. As you can see, we've got the aging gorilla. It looks very much like Windows. Windows tiling, again, I leave that as is, but you can change it if you wish. And workspaces are where you want your workspaces on that. Hardware, most of this you'll leave as is. If you want to change certain things, if you want to add a printer or you want to change the sound or whatever, you can do all of that there. Driver manager. Okay, yes, we're going to need the password for all of these at the bottom. Okay. Here we're going to have a bit of a problem because it's actually going to show some of the VirtualBox guest editions that don't actually work, so they will be set as not in use. This computer is running slow, so yes, do not use this device and do not use this device. If you have one for example, the Intel microcode, which will probably appear at the bottom, I recommend that you install the Intel microcode. That will appear at the bottom here. On that, Firewall we've already done. This just changes the login window for when the system starts. Your choice as to what to have. You can decide whether or not to allow guests or whatever. I'm going to switch off the guest session. There's no need on that. You can hide a user list, so to make it a bit more difficult and that type of thing. You've got various settings to allow whether or not you can have number lock on and things like that. It's your choice on that if you wish it. Okay. Right. Software sources. We saw that when we did the updates. But if you need to change where your software sources are coming from, you can oops, incorrect password. Haven't got caps lock on. No. Password. Right. I know that is 100% correct. It's a good idea every 3 months or so just to check the mirrors to see if there's new mirrors or faster mirrors. We may at some point in time deal with this, but this can make your system more insecure, so it's a good idea not to have those there. Okay. It is slow today, isn't it? Why are we slow today? Thank you. And finally, users and groups. This is something that you may well use. I'm sure that my password was correct that time. There's obviously something slowing the computer down. So, no, that was correct. I'm 100% certain that my password was correct at that time. Yep. I think there is a problem on this. Oh, I see. We've got 3 users and groups. That's it. So this will be your username, and you can see the groups that you're in. If you click on the groups, you can add yourself to some groups. You could add yourself to Daemon because that's something that we will probably use later on, and you could add yourself to the WW data group, which again, that's something we would do later on when we put Apache server on. I would very strongly recommend you do not add yourself to the root group, okay, as that's going to cause security problems in the end. There are other groups that you might want to add yourself to at a later date. It depends on what you require. So I've added 2 more groups on there, so you'll see them appear, daemon and ww data. It's possible I might add another one later on. Okay, you can add people. Okay, now you should always keep your account as administrator. Okay, and anybody you add, okay, you should make them a standard. Okay, a standard account. That means that they can't install things without your permission and that type of thing. They can't really do any damage on the computer. Okay, I've got nobody I want to add, so I shall cancel that and I shall close that down. Okay, so that was a quick run through the system settings. This is probably a bit longer than my normal videos. Thank you for watching. My name's John, and I'll see you next time.